Okay, good morning and welcome to the latest episode of Meet the Brand, where we talk to the partners that we bring into the business and they talk you through how they can help you as an independent gym owner. Before I hand over, it's something obviously that it's very personal to me, having run my own facility myself for several years. And I was very guilty of keeping hold of everything in that business. I wanted to do it all myself. I was probably quite stubborn in that area. And had I have actually reached out and got some support from a reputable company on an area of my business, I really feel I probably could have done things a lot better. So it's something that I'm really keen and really excited to bring this partner on board to do exactly that, to help businesses to pick up bits of work that they're overloaded with, whatever that looks like. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Simon Parrish, who is Head of Operations for Tima, and he's going to explain to you what the business does, how they can support you, and what it looks like for the future. So I'll hand over to you, Simon.
Perfect. Thanks, Amy. Actually, just before I start, just to reflect on what you've just said about handing over control, well, not necessarily control, but just various tasks. I can relate to that very strongly. When we launched Tima, we actually launched it by our own sites. So the parent company of both of Tima and a group of Anytime Fitness gyms. I was more involved in the gyms previously and then moved over to Tima. But we launched Tima to support our 7 clubs. And as the regional manager in charge of those 7 clubs at the time, I was, hesitant to relinquish anything. So I can massively relate to that. But we've never looked back, and the reason the business has grown in the way that it has is it's proven to be a much more viable, scalable, and sustainable model in terms of how we operate those sites. So yeah, it's funny. It's a real people are passionate about their clubs, and rightly so. And people own their own gyms because they want to run their own shows, and I completely understand that. And we very much take direction from the gym owners. We very much want to be part of your culture, be part of your ethos, represent your values, treat your members and prospects exactly as you would treat them. That's incredibly important to us. We don't really dictate any of that. That all comes from the client. From the club owner or the club manager or whoever the appropriate party is. We're very much keen to march to the tune of your drum. But we just hope that we can provide a bit of extra support to just help you grow your businesses effectively. So I've got a bit of a brochure that we send out. So I'll put that on screen. That might serve some good prompts to work through. Here we go. So what is Tima? Tima, simply put, is a contact center. So we have a team of 6 Tima agents. They're sat in an office together with a couple of screens each, a headset, the internet, and everything you would need to perform tasks remotely. So the vast majority of the work we do is outbound phone calls, but we also do inbound calls, we do email, and we do a bit of social media as well. Any form of communication, text messages, any form of communication between the club and either its prospects or its members, that is something that Tima will do on behalf of its clients. I'm just going to work my way through this because I think this will be a good prompt. So we focus our service in 3 main areas, really. The first is a membership fee collection service. So the idea behind this is, let's say a typical billing run is, I don't know, £20,000. But you're only collecting 15,000 of that. That's not uncommon from what I've seen. Unfortunately, the collection rates have struggled, particularly in the economic climate. So what we do is we reach out to those members that haven't paid. We do it in a very understanding and a very empathetic manner. And our goal is not only to collect those arrears and reinstate those direct debits, but we also want to re-engage the member. Because that member, for whichever reason, has decided to prioritize other things financially, and that could be that times are tough, or it could be that they just don't see the value in their membership. So what Tima do is reach out to those people, collect the funds, reinstate direct debits, and re-engage with that member. Really remind them why they joined the gym in the first place, what their fitness goals are, and how we're best placed to support that journey. So that's the first service. Second service is a member support service, and this is all geared around reducing attrition. What I found is that a lot of gyms, that their sales numbers are pretty close to as good as they can be. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot that aren't. I'll talk about those in a moment. But there are several clients that we work with who, you know, their sales process is fantastic, but actually it's taken up all their run power. And unfortunately, they're losing members at the same time, so their growth is stinted. So what we say to those clients is, look, you know, you guys are phenomenal at sales, keep that up, but let us support you with your member service. So we target two groups of members predominantly: new joiners. So anyone who's just signed up, we'll reach out to a couple of times at least in the first 6 weeks. That's very much the honeymoon phase of their membership. If you can get them engaged in that crucial period, that goes a really long way. And again, whether that's phone, email, texts, social media, whatever communication channels are relevant. And then what we try to do is direct those members into your existing retention tools, whether that's classes, personal training, potentially you might have some apps, some webinars, whatever it may be, whatever tools you have to engage your members. We want to be that connecting of the dots. So you guys have got phenomenal personal trainers, you've got members, let Tima come in and pair them up, which is going to go a long way to increasing your retention numbers, reducing your attrition, and ultimately allowing you to grow at a faster rate. And then the final, I don't know if you can see it on the recording, it's blocked slightly on my screen, but yeah, it's a sales support service. So in this service, what we do is we make sure we're the first responders in all of your incoming inquiries. And there's two benefits to this. Well, there's a number of benefits, but the two main benefits are there's a real temptation as a sales team to be office bound. You don't want to miss that phone call. You don't want to miss that email. You don't want to miss that Instagram message, whatever it may be. And I can completely relate to that. I was a sales consultant in the fitness industry for many years. And sometimes I was loath to go outside because I didn't want to miss, you know, the walk in or the phone in or whatever it may be. So by Tima taking that burden away from the team, that frees them up to get out there and, you know, engage with members, or to go out and perform sales activities in local communities, whether it's outreach or wellness events, or, you know, doing the warm up at the local 5K, whatever it may be. By having Tima as your first responders, it means that you're not going to miss those opportunities, and your club aren't office bound. And the second benefit of Tima being your first responders is that we don't have a club to run. You know, our job is to monitor these communication channels. So, you know, as someone again who managed gyms for many years, and, you know, would work on skeletal staffing models sometimes, we wouldn't be able to get every phone call. We wouldn't be able to respond to an email within 5 minutes of it being received, because we were teaching classes, or we were cleaning kit, or we were, I don't know, going on an outreach event, whatever it may be. So Tima ensures that your team aren't bound to the office, and it also means that your response rate will be quicker and more effective, and that will lead to more and better bookings. And this is something that's, you know, really exciting. It's quite liberating for the sales teams that we work with, because effectively, you know, they go out and get the prospects, and their diaries being filled simultaneously. You know, it's quite a powerful initiative. So those are the three sort of headline services. So I'll elaborate on each one slightly. I don't want to talk forever on these, you know. But the membership fee collection, we found an average of about 90% across the clubs that we profiled. So that's 10% of your revenue every single month. That's just not going anywhere. Basically, it's a lot of money. If you plot it over the course of the year, you know, it's a minority percentage, of course. You're collecting 90%. That's the lion's share. But, you know, say it is £2,000 a month, 24 grand a year. It's a lot of money. I would want that in my pocket as opposed to off in the ether, as it were. So we can make a really big difference on that. You know, we've increased by up to 5%. And when you look at what the cost of the Tima service is, it's, you know, minuscule in comparison. So from a pure ROI perspective and just very tangible benefit, the membership fee collection service is quite a popular product, actually. Almost all of our clients have this as a minimum, with some of our clients having some of the other services as well. Member support service, I've spoken about this at length already, so I won't go into too much more detail, but something we noticed again when we're profiling for clients is that quite a heavy proportion, and in fact Explore published something on LinkedIn this week about leaver stats. I smiled slightly because basically it said we don't know on like half of these people, because they've just cancelled their direct debit, or they've become unengaged, whatever it may be. But when I've done my drilling down on these people, they're just not using the gym. It's not overly complicated. They stop using it and then they stop paying. So if we can get there as quickly as possible, and proactively with people who've just joined, and reactively with people who've stopped attending. So we work on a 3-week rule. So if a member hasn't attended a club for 3 weeks, we'll reach out to them, and that tends to be, honest, a bit of a barrage. So we'll go text, email, and call, because we just know how critical it is to re-engage that members. And of course, some of them have had a short-term injury, or they've been on holiday, or whichever. But what we've seen is that the visits per member increases fairly substantially when the team of service is engaged. And we just stop those members dropping off. And again, we've seen attrition rates drop by up to 1.5% per month, which is 18% less leavers a year. Which again, even if your sales figure remains static, which it won't, it will grow. If it remains static, that's an extra 18% growth. That can be a huge difference. I'd have bitten my arm off for 18% growth in some of my clubs back in the day. So very powerful stuff. And then sales support, again, I've been through the most of the detail of it. But I guess just to put a little bit of meat on the bones, it's not just first response, so we get to those inquiries nice and quick. It's also the quality of the work we do. We do make sure that rapport is built, that trust is engaged, and clearly that's a rapport with the brand as opposed to the individual, and the same thing with the trust. But we also make sure that our appointments have notes, so there's evidence of needs analysis, so that when your consultant phones up to do the confirmation call and says, "Hi, I'm Simon, I'll be touring you around the club tomorrow. I can see that you recovering from a knee injury," whatever it may be, we really make sure that those appointments are putting the staff on the best foot forward in order to secure that new member. That's basically it. That's who we are and what we do. I'm not going to go through this, to be honest with you, it's the whole section. But yeah,
that's perfect. I think it's, like I said, I'm really excited to bring you guys in, because I think you're right. I think, well, particularly putting myself back in the shoes of being in my gym, it was so overwhelming. And I think nowadays as well, there's so many different channels of communication. That the thing that really always got me was trying to keep up, or how the hell do I track this? Because I'm doing everything. I'm the cleaner, I'm the sales team, I'm the retention team. And I just remember that overwhelming feeling of Instagram messages, Facebook messages, emails, voicemails, WhatsApps. And it's just to try and get that organised. Like I said, I was very guilty of trying to do all that myself. And actually, I think there's probably a misconception out there that a company like yourselves are having the luxury of having support from an outside company as for the big gyms or for the chains. But actually, if you want an independent gym to survive, you have to have a really good framework in place. I don't think I did the best job in mine, if I'm honest. It was, things like you said, if you're on holiday, you should really have that downtime to go and enjoy your holiday. And I never did. I would take my phone with me and still be answering the inquiries. And it's probably one of my biggest regrets, if I'm honest, running mine, is not looking at the help that's out there. I think really great that obviously you're going to be at our winter conference on the 30th of November. That's brilliant that you're going to be there. So, what would you say if people are in that position where they are feeling overwhelmed, they don't know where to start? What is the starting point? Where do they start? Do they call you for a consultation? What's the process?
Yeah, absolutely. So if anyone does want to reach out and have a chat, again, we're not what am I trying to say? We want to be as flexible as possible, and all of our packs and services are bespoke to the client. And what I would say is really think about what your strengths are and what your passions are. Because if you are trying to do something that either you're not very good at, and that takes a bit of self-awareness, but that's important, or it's something that you just don't like doing, then you can outsource it, and that will allow you to focus your time and effort on the things that you excel at, and the things that you really enjoy, and you're just going to get a lot more out of your business for that. One of the big things for me when we introduced Tima to my clubs is my consultants, and this might be representative of the demographic. They're all sort of 20-somethings just starting their careers, or the rest of it, but they didn't enjoy being in the office. They enjoyed being on the gym floor. That's the thing they really enjoyed, is being on the gym floor, interacting with members, and getting that vibe and that buzz that you get on the gym floor. It's just so infectious. So my staff satisfaction went up. My staff retention went up. Because like you said, that feeling of being overwhelmed wasn't there. And of course, the other thing is, and this is a little bit crass, I apologize, but they're not incentivized on those things. They're
No.
incentivized on sales.
Yeah.
You know, so for them to spend time doing anything other than that, they begrudge, and
Yeah.
rightly so, you know. So we help create an environment where the staff are absolutely loving it, because, you know, they're doing the things they really enjoy, and they're doing the things that are going to develop their career and help them earn more money. So yeah, I would recommend to any independent watching this, think about what your strengths are, what your passions are, play to those strengths, play to those passions, and anything that's left over, we can potentially support with. Clearly, it has to be something that can be performed remotely. We can't come in and clean your bathrooms, unfortunately. But we can, yeah, that would be, I mean, maybe one day, who knows, Tima cleaning, who knows. Never say never. But it's, you know, it's, and look, a lot of this has come about because during the pandemic, remote working became much more prevalent. And, you know, the fact that you and I are sat here doing this as a Zoom session is a perfect example.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't have happened 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, the technology wasn't there, and as I say, just culturally, it wasn't there, whereas now it really is. And that's really helped enable Tima, and it can also help enable your clients, your independent clubs. You know, there's so much that we can do for you. And again, the idea is you come in with, you know, 3 or 4 things that you really enjoy, that you're really focused on, that you really want to drive, as opposed to 10 or 15 things, half of which just aren't your cup of tea, quite frankly.
Yeah.
You know, so that's the advice I would give. Think about, you know, what would I want support with, or what, frankly, do I not want to do myself? And then reach out with that idea, and we can talk it through. And again, we're working with 26 different clubs now. And look, you know, the foundations are broadly the same, but they all have slightly different packs, and they all have slightly different services. And even within a single service, some clients prefer things done a certain way, others have different thresholds for different things. It's, you know, we want to be as flexible and bespoke as possible, because we believe that's the best way to, you know, operate.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's brilliant. I think obviously you're on the socials, so Tima, Tima, for people that want to go and have a look at more about what they do. So all I can suggest is gym owners start making their lists now, ready for the 30th. Ideally, come and meet you in person, sit down, have a chat, book an appointment. Nearer the time, as I said, we'll be launching an app to support our event this year, which is really exciting. So hopefully there'll be more information coming through there as well. So in the meantime, we will let you crack on with all the work you've got there. Gym owners, I'm sure we'll start getting in touch soon, and we look forward to seeing you on the 30th of November.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thanks, Simon. Speak to you soon.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.